Good morning. I'm talking a little bit quieter, but it is that time of the week again, fitness fragrance review time. Now, the reason I'm talking quieter is because it's 5:47 in the morning, very early. And this fitness fragrance review is going to be slightly different today. Normally, if you've seen these before, what I do is I do a morning workout. So I go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while wearing a fragrance. And I rank it on 5 categories: so price/value for money, versatility, projection, compliment factor, and its longevity. We do a couple of tests. Now, I am going for my run, as you can see, because I'm in my running gear, but I'm not going to the gym today because me and my brother are heading to London. And this is where I actually first bought this fragrance. This is Zara Red Rodeo. We'll talk about the notes and stuff in a minute. It is actually a discontinued fragrance, but I'll give you my reasons why I'm going to review it still today. And we're still going to do those same categories that I just mentioned. However, we're going to do a little different test. Normally for longevity, I have a shower and I see how much it smells. What I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to spray my arms this morning. So it's going to be about 6 o'clock by the time I've started my run. And essentially what I want to do is I want to see if this can get me all the way to London today. So by the time we arrive in London, it's going to be about 20 past 10, half 10. But I'm going to not spray it again after this morning. So essentially it's going to see how long it lasts. And that's going to be our test for longevity. So that's the only difference. So why am I reviewing Zara Red Rodeo? Why would I review a discontinued fragrance? It's not something I'd like to do because ultimately, what's the point of reviewing something you can struggle to buy? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Essentially, the first reason is because sometimes on eBay this can become available. I've also seen actually in some of the other countries, so I'm obviously in the United Kingdom, you can still get this fragrance. So just to be aware, it is still half around. But actually, the main reason is because there's another fragrance from Zara called Womo Winter that essentially has the same top, middle, and base. And if I can get hold of it today in London and try and give it a smell, I'll let you know how similar it is to this. But people online have said it's about 95% the same. So essentially, I just think they've repackaged it, renamed it, and it comes in a bottle like this, as you would have just seen. So let's go through the notes. What actually then does this smell like? Well, this is a fragrance I really like because of one main reason. One of the top notes, and it's super prominent, is strawberry. So it's bergamot and strawberry in the opening. So let's talk about what the bergamot brings. Adds a fresh, clean, slightly citrusy brightness to the opening. There's definitely a bit of a citrusy blast, but really what it is this strawberry that comes through. It gives a sweet, juicy, playful fruitiness that softens the citrus 100%. This isn't sparkling sweet. It is there, but it's that strawberry. It's not a natural strawberry. It's a very ripe strawberry. But it's more like a bubblegum strawberry, like flavoured strawberry things, whether that's ice cream or sweets, things like that. It's much more of a candied sweetness rather than that fruity sort of strawberry smell, but very pleasant, very easy to pull off in my opinion. Heart is leather and fir balsam, so the leather brings a smooth, masculine, slightly rugged depth, and the fir balsam has a green resinous, slightly pine-like warmth that supports the leather. Maybe so, but I'll be honest with you, the fir balsam I don't get. I can understand that little bit of leather though, because it does sort of that there is this smoothness, and it's certainly got this masculine vibe to it that a woman could pull this one off, I think, in my opinion, which we'll talk about with versatility, but it's definitely got that depth to it that just has that feeling of a man's fragrance, certainly a young man. But yeah, no green notes particularly for me, so I don't particularly recognise the fir. But again, there's this real nice blend. It's blended very well. It's just that strawberry super prominent. And then we go into the base. It's amber, creates a warm, rich, slightly sweet foundation. Again, probably helping elevate the strawberry. Cashmere adds a softness, musky, woody texture, which smoothens the blend. There is a sort of musky cleanness here. I would have said lavender if I didn't smell this fragrance before. But yeah, it just tames it. It feels like the fragrance is tame. As I was saying, it's a very synthetic strawberry, which could be nostril burning. Particularly, I've had cheap fruity fragrances before. But it is a softness here, a nice sort of clean feel rather than just this overblast of strawberry. So I expect that's coming from the cashmere and then vanilla also as well. Creamy sweetness, rounds the fragrance off in the dry down, which of course vanilla's in a lot of fragrances and a lot of dried rounds and in many popular fragrances. So yeah, I'm not surprised it's in this. So yeah, quite popular notes, but to have strawberry as the real foundation, you can see by the bottle design as well. They really want to promote that strawberry, and yeah, you can definitely detect it. So what I'm going to do then, it's time to stop putting it off. Quickly go get myself ready, do a couple of stretches. We'll get out for a run. It's so quiet. I am loving this. Look how dark it is as well. I haven't been up at 6 in the morning for a run since the ultra marathon day. when I started at 7 in the morning and finished at 11 at night. But anyway, you've not come for that. You've come to hear about Zara Red Rodeo. So what did I pay for it when I got it? $15.99. And obviously at the moment they're marketing it on the website where you can get it for like $11.99. But essentially, if you look at Womo Winter, which is the Zara fragrance that smells like it, it's got top note of strawberry, middle of leather, and base of vanilla. It's about $15.99, so that's what you'd be paying for this one. Do I think it's good value for money? That if I was blindfolded and I'm smelling this genre of fragrance, I'm saying it's about a £25 tops. That it's not a natural smelling fragrance, but there's a lot of complexity here. Let's not pretend these are natural notes. But when you look at it, you've got a nice zesty opening, strawberry and bergamot, where you do get this fizzy sweetness, which is really, really pleasant. You detect that. And then to have, leather in the middle of the fragrance, normally it's in the base of a fragrance, but without it overpowering that opening, I think they've done a really good job there. Leather's such a strong note, and when it's synthetic, it can be really horrible, really pungent, and a bit skanky. And this certainly doesn't do it with that. Okay, I don't detect the fir balsam, but again, you've got this green pininess that they've added as well. So you've got this smoky depth, this fruity depth, and then in the base, you've got this real sweetness. Obviously, having vanilla and amber just sort of binds everything together with the cashmere as well. And what they've really come out with here is a very well blended, easy to pull off, versatile fragrance. And obviously, we'll talk about versatility in more detail in a minute. But it's got a lot of components there, which a lot of people will like. It touches in so many areas, and that's what people want, Look, us fragrance enthusiasts love to buy loads of fragrances and spend a lot of money. We got to remember, a lot of people don't. And when you're looking at the brand here, this is Zara. This isn't Dior or, Givenchy or anything like that, where they're literally trying to market fragrances alongside their clothing and make a big thing about them. They're trying to just sell these as what they're meant to be, a clothing shop, and you might buy a fragrance just as you leave on the till, almost like an impulse buy. And this does that. This really does that well. And for that reason, I have to say it's a pretty decent one. Look, I've got to mark it down on the fact it's not, it's not doing anything that's overly daring or, making it smell expensive. I certainly, when you sometimes look at prices, some of them are, around that price range, you can certainly get better quality. But overall, it is very good, very versatile, and it's going to please a lot of people, which is what Zara want. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Just going to mark it down a little bit because the quality, doesn't really stand out above anything else in that price range. But it's good to see them utilising strawberry. Right, on to versatility. Versatility, how much can you dress this one up, dress this one down, different ages, different occasions, all those sort of things. Well, it is a man's fragrance, it's marketed for men, I think we need to say that. But as I did touch on earlier, that women could pull this off, having strawberry as a note, and having bergamot, vanilla, even the pine from the fir, that sort of piney smell, that women can pull this off. Even leather, you can get leather in women's fragrances. But look, ultimately this is a masculine type fragrance, and leather does bring that masculine vibe. A little bit like black pepper does in fragrances. Just gives it that sort of masculine edge. However, it's a young man's fragrance, this for me. This is very much someone who would wear, those sort of more juvenile scents. This is a more entry-level type fragrance. But a little bit of a step up from like a 1 million in my opinion. But I'm going to say teenager to sort of late 20s, early 30s. It's going to be the sort of people that will like to wear this the most. Again, going back onto really what Zara think they're trying to market in their clothing. Kind of a younger sort of university student sort of age, I would say. And I say this, I always say my dad like he's an old man. But I don't see my dad wearing this fragrance. It's a little bit too fruity, a little bit too playful, and it just doesn't have that real masculine depth to it. But look, I love it. I'm nearly 30. I think it's absolutely fine. It's got enough about it, certainly, that you don't need to sort of just wear it to your early 20s. If you just want that one fragrance that does all, this can do that. And that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about how versatile, how much you can use this. And for that reason, it's got to get a good score. So the only reason I think I can mark this down on versatility is I don't think an older man's going to like it, and that really is it. And it's just obviously not going to really work. And you know, in those real high heat situations, that I could wear it at the gym, but I wouldn't particularly. I wouldn't really wear it to a job interview either. I think it's just so casual. So for that reason, I'll give it an 8.5. You know, I'm being a little bit critical there. I was thinking of giving this a 10 initially today because you can wear it a lot, but I just think for those factors, you know, and again, you can get many fragrances in this sort of genre that maybe would add a little bit more woodiness, which would just be a little bit more appealing to an older gentleman. But yeah, 8.5 out of 10 is still a decent score. Compliment factor. What's my experience with this one? Do I think it's a compliment getting fragrance? Well, look, I've never worn it for compliments, and to be honest, the reason is because as I was touching on earlier, for me this is a transition season fragrance. I'm going to kind of contradict myself here. Look, versatility tends to lead to the greatest compliments. You know, you look at the blue fragrances around today, you know, Yves Saint Laurent Wide, British, you know, Dior Sauvage, they're the ones that people wear, and you know, you can put in any situation, which means you're going to wear it in more occasions, more people are going to cross you, and they're going to say nice things, and it's a safe note breakdown. And this is exactly that as well. However, for me, someone who, you know, likes fragrances, if I'm dressing up, obviously I know I like boozy notes. I like those ones that are a little bit more unique to a certain occasion. But if you're someone with 3 or 4 fragrances in their collection, yeah, I would absolutely wear this for compliments. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Just for me, I feel it'll be a little bit forgettable. And because it doesn't cut through the cold, I just don't think many people are going to really mention it. That being said, I love the fact strawberry plays a dominant role here. I really do, and I think it's brilliant. I think it does give it that slight uniqueness. But what I think it needs is a sidekick to get it to that compliment factor level that I really want. And I mean that in the sense of maybe an almond that may give it that sort of almost like a lost cherry vibe from Tom Ford, or even something, you know, that's just a bit more, you know, a little bit of caramel, which is in a lot of these really popular phrases. Yes, that would affect versatility, but I think it would elevate the strawberry. I want it to almost be that nice friend that really pushes that strawberry further forward, and just give it an extra gourmand dimension that I think would just generate more compliments on this fragrance. That's just my opinion. I really think it's absolutely fine to wear on all occasions. But I just don't know if it quite does enough to get to that top level where people are going to really mention it. They may notice it, and they may think he smells nice, but I don't think it's memorable enough for them to stop you, because it's a big thing to stop you and say you smell nice. Just not quite sure this one does it, but it's a brilliant scent, and if I only had 2 or 3 in my collection, I'd happily put it on to wear for compliments. So I'm going to say, for that reason, 7.5 out of 10. I just think it needed an extra note, which is mad to say because it touches in so many nuances. A little sidekick, like a caramel or a boozy, nutty sort of vibe. And I think it would have just got it to that next level. I'm done about 9-10 miles, so not too bad considering I need to get to, well, the train station in about 40 minutes. I need to have a shower. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray my room in a minute before I have my shower, and then we'll give a score on sort of projection, how much it fills the room. However, did I notice it during my run? Only a couple of times, and that was when I actually stopped to go to the toilet. This is a fragrance, I think, where you almost only notice it in your own personal bubble. So someone invades your space a little bit like this, you know, people that get a little bit too close to you, I think that's when you notice it. But apart from that, wasn't too strong. It was just about right, absolutely fine. No worries at all. It's a cold morning, it's really cold. I could barely open the door, so I didn't expect it to cut through the cold, as I said. But of course, we'll give a proper score on projection after a 10-minute shower. So yeah, I need to hurry up. Yes, I can smell the fragrance pretty strong. It's about 60-70%. It has some staying power, this, and I think that synthetic strawberry just holds a little bit better. I find synthetic fruity notes do tend to do that pretty well, and particularly heavier notes like leather. When they're synthetic, they can be pretty horrible smelling. As I said, this one's blended really well, and it survived really well in terms of lingering in the air. someone walked in, they definitely noticed it, and I think it would last for a good few hours. So for that reason, I'm going to give projection, because I didn't notice it much on my run, I can't give it a huge score. We'll go 8 out of 10. It's not bad at all, and I think this is where it's going to get the most confidence. If you've sat in a room for a bit, that's when people will notice it. Right, 2 minutes before we need to leave for the train. We are approaching London Victoria, so has the fragrance lasted? I've tried it about, what, 6:15. We're talking 20 past 10 now, so obviously I've had a shower, I've done a run. It's still there, but it's nowhere near as strong as it was. It's probably about 20%, but that isn't bad, is it, for a cheap fragrance? What do I give for longevity? Has Red Rodeo essentially survived to get to London? Yes, it has. So that is pretty impressive for a £15 fragrance. So I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10. We'll see if we find that fragrance maybe later on as well, won't we, Winter, if we get a chance to go there. But today we're going to the Army Museum, so going to get a few photos of that. And yeah, looking forward to a nice day off to do something a little bit different rather than wait. And you see me in my very colourful top. So yeah, see you in a bit. Found a Zara, so we'll see if it's in here. It's not horrible, but it's not. Don't want to buy it. No luck. So we are in Liberty now. Just smelt Eau de Forum again. I absolutely love that one. I recommended it the other day. A lot of Hermes fragrances in here. A lot of Acqua di Parma. It's such an amazing shop. Super busy, but I love it. Okay, found the next shop we're looking for. It's so busy along here, but we're going in Lush. So I've been shopping in Lush, so you know there's going to be another fitness fragrance review soon. Which one have I bought? I've bought a body spray that I've never had before. I've smelt it. It smells so good, and yeah, can't wait to do a review on it, hopefully this week. Right, I found it. I'll let you know if it smells like Red Rodeo. Yes, it's absolutely identical. So there you go. If you want Zara Red Rodeo, get Womo Winter. Definitely recommend it. Amazing fragrance, and yeah, still readily available. $15.99. It's a bargain. So we've ended up buying a different fragrance from Zara. This Dystopia 004, but the main notes is pastry cream. It smells just like a strawberry pastry. So yeah, I can't wait to do a review on this one. You'll see how unique this is, because it certainly is a good one.